Down below there'll be links to more petitions, more resources that I personally suggest that are very interesting to read, and also some videos to watch if you can't donate. I know I said in the last video I will do that, but I promise in this video I will. I promise to you. Hello, I'm Styleboy and welcome to my world. What is these hands motion? In today's video, what I wanted to discuss is basically about brands being genuinely inclusive versus not genuinely and only using it as a marketing scheme. So especially with the Black Lives Matter movement happening right now and Pride Month, but all brands have been jumping on board, being either saying like we stand with you and we will improve, and also a lot of the same brands are then posting Pride collections being like Pride, yes. And I think it's very interesting because again, to me, some brands literally couldn't care less and some brands generally mean it from the bottom of their heart. So I want to just say that I will be mainly focusing for this video on race, so about all people of color, but specifically the Black community. Again, with everything happening right now, I will be also focusing on the LGBTQ plus community because again, Pride Month, so you'll be able to see this, and I'll be focusing on body positivity and the community in that. However, I will bring in other stuff such as like religion, such as having Muslim models, about disability, and the two main areas of brands that we'll focus on is fashion and beauty. However, I will bring in other ones as well, such as Starbucks. If you know what I'm going to be talking about, you know it's going to be interesting. Before we start, please make sure you give this a thumbs up and subscribe, as well as hitting that bell notification. Ding! We love a good sound effect in this household. And without further ado, let's begin. Like I said, a lot of brands are jumping on the bandwagons because it's like a hype train almost. And these causes, especially like race and the LGBTQ community, should be talked about all year round. But specifically now, a lot of brands are jumping on it. And for the Black Lives Matter movement, it comes with like doing that black square and then doing a statement like, we stand with you. And then writing a statement like, we will improve. And it's like, okay, but how? But then posting their regular content after, or even before, not even making an effort at all. So this is called performative activism. What is performative activism, you may ask? Well, performative activism is basically when you are being an activist but only for a show, or you're doing something that's very inclusive, or something that you should have been doing ages ago but just only for the show, and then you'll go back to normal after. It can be quite like daunting, and I understand that like at least those brands are staying on this topic, but it's to save their ass. It's basically to save them from a lot of backlash and a lot of controversy, because again, if you look previously with again social media, oh my god, especially, and if you take into account other people's opinions, which I will get into, they don't add up. So for example, L'Oreal did we stand with you and did a whole post being like, we are generally inclusive and X, Y, and Z. However, a black trans model who is stunning, by the way, oh my god, she's stunning, wrote an Instagram post saying it's loads of bullshit basically, because when she was modeling for the campaign, a lot of racist remarks were made and she felt like it was wrong. So it feels almost like ingenuine to post something like that. And in my opinion, I completely agree. I think, especially from a consumer, especially seeing what she wrote and then seeing them do that, it doesn't add up. It seems like obviously you take into account the experience of the person, because it takes a lot for a person to stand up against a brand. There are plenty of influencers who have, which I'm like, go you, but it takes someone a lot of courage to do that. And then the brand seems stupid. I wouldn't believe the brand, I believe the person. So because at the end of the day, a lot of brands just want to use it to make money or just to seem we're safe, we're fine, when in reality they don't. Another example of this is Tarte. So if you've been sleeping under a rock, Tarte released one of probably the worst foundation shade I think anyone has ever seen, called the Shape Tape Foundation. And it literally was shades of white and then like 3 shades of dark. I was just like, what the fuck? How the fuck did this even go through? And then Tarte were like, we're so sorry, oh my god. And then literally the next moment released a 40 shade foundation, which of course it's great, don't get me wrong, but if you can release that within that short period of time, because I think it was something like 6 months or something ridiculous like that, what stops you from taking more time within your Tarte Shape Tape Foundation to extend your shade range? I don't understand, it doesn't make any sense at all. And again, it's quite sad because especially on like Instagram, what I've been learning is that a lot of like fashion, especially the fashion industry, has been like very racist and has done racist things. Like again, like you learn, especially from like a consumer, like I don't work on photo shoots, like you see the stuff and it's kind of horrible. So for example, one of them is like not having full foundation range on set, which is stupid because you should. You're a makeup artist, that's your job. Tell telling black models who wear their hair natural it's difficult to work with. Oh, come on. Or the hairstyle is unprofessional, which has been going around, which is so stupid. So many black hairstyles are stunning. But then the other extreme, which is appropriating those hairstyles as well. Basically, someone did this so much was ghetto until fashion, which I think is so relevant in this case because black women and black men have been constantly faced with so much discrimination and hate for the way their hair looks, the way they dress, and the way they like do things. However, when a white person does it, it's fashion. It basically is almost like saying, I'm gonna take the piss out of you for doing it, but I can then do it in return and it's fine. So an example of this is when Zendaya wore locks at an award show and there was so many people saying like, oh my god, she's hid weed behind and all these stupid things because of the way she's worn her hair. However, Marc Jacobs was then like, let's add rainbow colored locks into our catwalk for spring summer 2017. And it was fashion. People did moan, but like it was more like us, not like the media, not like the press. They only got onto it when we made the fuss. Do you see what I mean? Ghetto until made fashion. There are so many more. I think the fashion industry I'm gonna really into so much today. There are so many more. Again, I put the resources down below that I think are very helpful. I think even like simple stuff like not working with models who have a deeper complexion. And when I mean deeper, I mean not just light-skinned black women. When I was doing the research for this video, I was noticing so many brands don't, and I was just thinking like, why? Dark-skinned black women and dark-skinned black men are stunning. All black people are beautiful. Oh my god, and all people of color are beautiful. But like, especially in like campaign, like even from like a creative brain, like what I'm thinking of, the way that colors pop off dark skin is beautiful. White on deeper complexions, oh my god, it's so beautiful and like it's so stunning. Like to me, it like really complements the shoot, and I think makes your clothes look even better. So that's one example. But even like having like, I don't know, like an Asian model in there, whether they are from India or from Japan, like they're both beautiful, and to have them within your campaign is stunning. I think I've noticed a lot of Indian women are not put in the forefront of fashion, and I'm just like, why? There are so many beautiful, stunning Indian women who deserve to be in fashion magazines and deserve to be shown. Same with Middle Eastern women. Oh my god, I could just go on a whole rant. There's so many beautiful women out there. Everyone is beautiful if you could not tell. To me, I don't understand. Well, I do get it, because at the end of the day, it's because it's what's been ingrained into us ever since we were a child. We've always been shown that white is pretty and black isn't, without us even realizing. So for example, like dolls and princesses being all white and very few being people of color. It's just like, it's annoying and it's stupid. And it's like, again, like we've come so far, but again, we have to realize that we have, especially if you're white watching this, you've grown up with a degree of privilege in your life. And when I mean white privilege, I mean not that your life is hard. I don't know your life personally, but what I mean is that we have not grown up with the struggles of having a different skin complexion, not being black or being Asian or Latina or whatever. We haven't experienced that. We have not experienced the hardships in our life because of the color of our skin. I am white, but I do realize that. And I think hopefully when they do notice that, and hopefully don't just do it for a fucking trend, then change will be made. I went deep. Look at me, baba. So next is the LGBTQ community, and if you did not know, I am gay and proud as fuck. And also because it's Pride Month, so happy Pride to all my LGBTQ plus folks. Usually when this time comes around, if you do not notice, every single brand, regardless whether it's a beer brand or a clothing company or whoever, decides to add rainbows onto every single item possible. A lot of them don't actually donate money in return. Interesting, right? So that is what we call pink capitalism. What pink capitalism is basically is you taking advantage of the LGBTQ+ community and Pride and just adding rainbows in it, but not actually donating any money in return. Not researching enough, or not basically only doing it for the selfish reason, like I said, to gain more money. Here's why it's kind of annoying. Firstly, because you don't talk about us for the rest of the year, but for 1 month you then take advantage of us. That's what it feels like to me. B, do you actually mean it? Do you actually mean what you're doing, or are you just doing it for the sake of doing it? But also, like, what do you expect? Like, if you rush the design, which also is another problem, is where my fashion brain comes in. A lot of the Pride collections are so odd and they just came out the middle of nowhere and they all look the same. It's an eye roll, you know? And I don't like it when brands do that, especially when it's very unauthentic. So for example, if you do the collection, but you don't donate money or you don't do your research in like how Pride started, or even you don't use members of the community in your modeling. There are so many that just like made me go, wait, what? Like how? So for example, Boohoo, every year when it comes to their Pride collection, I'm always like, what the fuck? But this year specifically, they didn't release a Pride collection, which I'm like, cool, I respect that. But they did. You're probably like, what the fuck, Steph? How? They released it in the form of Disney, but then put stuff on it like love is love and did everything in like a rainbow color palette, which then confuses me because I'm just there like, how does this add up? Like Disney, I get it, like they've released out, like thank Jesus, I think that's a Pixar though, that's a different company, but like I've never known Disney to explicitly be like gay rights, let's add an LGBTQ+ character. I think only now is the first openly LGBTQ+ member. Firstly, yeah, I know a different outfit, it's a different day, like it takes forever to edit videos. Secondly, I have some paint swatches in the back, exciting stuff coming. What I wanted to say was that I have noticed at least Disney do some efforts, like remembered in my head. So for example, in their films, they've added like LGBTQ+ couples and like as extras in like Toy Story 3 and Finding Dory. Secondly, they've made the rainbow Disney ears, which I want so badly. And with their Pride collection this year on the Disney store, I think in the UK, they're donating money to LGBTQ+ causes. However, Boohoo, let's discuss still, because I don't understand like the main Disney characters, but you have stuff like love is love and love always wins and within a rainbow, but like that's never added with Disney. If you put something about magic, you put something about like Walt Disney quotes or something like that, it would make sense and we would be like, ah, but this is obviously a Pride collection and also they're donating no money to the LGBTQ+ community, so why? Also, I do want to mention SpongeBob is part of the LGBTQ community. So like to me, I'm like, wouldn't it make more sense to do SpongeBob? He is part of the community. It just doesn't make sense in my eyes. I was like, how did the two coincide? Like, and also not donating money. That's a big thing. So for example, another bad one has been Victoria Beckham with her one. So Victoria Beckham, I think is either worked with George Michael or quoted George Michael. I don't know. Rest in peace, George Michael. Obviously that's a really good point because George Michael was part of the LGBTQ+ community and it was cool. She released a t-shirt. It actually looked really nice. Like, it was very tasteful and I was like, oh. I mean, it was £90. I don't know if I'm willing to spend that. But the thing is, she only donated 25% of the causes, the profits to a donation. And I obviously understand like 25% is better than nothing. But you can donate more. You definitely can. A lot of people are outraged because basically you're keeping the money for yourself and you're not donating to the causes. Especially with Pride Month, this should be the time to especially donate. This is your time to do it. This is your time to use your money for good. It almost seems like you're not using it for a good cause, you're just using it for a profit. And it's just annoying and it's just stupid. I'll go into like the good and the bad examples like at the end. And the third one is the body positivity community. So now this is a very, very interesting argument. So with this, kind of comes like two things you kind of have to consider. So firstly, one way to show body positivity very easily is just to have curvy models within your social media and within your general campaigns very just effortlessly, which I don't understand why people don't do more often. And to integrate it into all aspects and make it normal. And I think someone really quoted this really well, which is that inclusion isn't different. It's just you realizing that it isn't different, it's different. That's it. And I thought that was really interesting. And again, we've also seen brands do this badly. Hashtag most designer brands. So an example of this is when designers take a particular model who's really popular at the moment. So whether it is a Muslim model, a plus size model, a trans model, a model with a disability, whoever, they'll take them and they'll be like, great, we're gonna add you because of your popularity and your hype. They'll add them to their catwalk, they'll add them to their campaign and be like, oh my god, we're so inclusive. And then the next season they'll just ditch it and act like nothing happened and just continue using the same system that they've used for ages. Like, why? Especially if you've done it then, shouldn't that be the first step to being more inclusive versus just using it so you can appear better, so you can gain more traction to the general public? Basically, also it's making the clothes bad for the body. Not really that I understand it, but I kind of get it more because fashion designers don't just design something and then make it like, woohoo! they go through a process called pattern cutting. And they usually will use a pattern block, which is basically a basic shape of like a trouser or a top or whatever to draw around so they are able to make what they want to make. So let's just say you want to make a wrap top. You will take a basic pattern block for a top in, I don't know, a size 12, let's just say. You will draw around it, but then you will manipulate it to make it into the top you want to make. You'll pin it onto the fabric and then cut it and then etc, etc.
So with what I just said, I get it that like from shop to shop the sizes may differ slightly. Like I understand it. Do I agree with it though? No. The reason is because I just think it's a bit silly because you are all making for the same customers, the general public. Especially if you're one of these big brands like H&M or Topshop or Urban Outfitters, you are making for the general public. So you should have the general public in mind and be able to create clothes that fit them, not fit a certain body type only. Which is then also another problem because when people go into individual shops, the sizes definitely differ between clothing piece to clothing piece. I've experienced this and it's a fucking mess. So for example, let's just take a size 18 person. She's walking into a shop, she's like, oh, I'm gonna get some trousers and a top and a dress, let's just say. The dress fits perfectly, like there's no fault, it fits everywhere, and she's like, I love it. The top fits too big unintentionally, it fits 2 sizes too big, and then the trousers are 2 sizes too small, and she just feels terrible after because although one piece ends up fitting nicely, it discourages a person from wanting to continue the shop because we all know that sizing differs from shop to shop within the shop. So it's a mess and you're just stuck there being like, well, I can't find anything that's unison. So I'm not going into a shop knowing that, oh, I'm gonna end up, for example, a size 18, I'm gonna be having to shuffle between like 3 or 6 different sizes just to make sure I can find something that fits me. And it is really discouraging because you're just like, I'm done. Like you feel fed up, especially when you can't find something to wear. Obviously, I am slimmer, like I am a slimmer guy, so I am likely to find something. So I do have like a privilege in that aspect. But I've again grown up with my friends and grown up with like family who are plus size and have to deal with that struggle. And it's so sad to hear. And brands not using their business to make a conscious effort to create for those consumers and instead pushing them to the side is annoying and stupid.
And this is why a lot of people say like the label doesn't influence who you are and it doesn't dictate who you are. And I completely agree to that. I have discussed body positivity more. Again, I'll put those videos down below because they're really important videos. And with brands doing the literal opposite and doing just shit, who are terrible, was for example like Forever 21, when they were giving out their plus size clothing, then featured diet bars in their packaging. Firstly, you have a plus size range. So why would you be suggesting that you still need to lose weight for plus size? That's stupid and like such a stupid idea. Secondly, there is nothing wrong with being plus size. There is nothing wrong with your body. As long as you are healthy, which by the way, healthy does not always look like thin model. Healthy is different to different people, looks different to different people. It's so stupid because it's like, again, you're feeding the societal ideas of a body and it's disgusting and it's annoying. There are so many brands who've just done shit, full stop. Another brand, which I think links into this one and into the previous one, which LGBTQ+ was Victoria's Secret. If you do not know, it was someone from their team, I don't remember who exactly, said that they would never include a curvy model or a trans model because it would ruin the fantasy. Fuck off. Just like, what is your problem? And then in like, oh my god, we're doing better, they hire a trans model. Okay, firstly, that is a good step, I will say, but then that's tokenism. So, if you do not know what tokenism is basically where you have a person of a minority, so whether that is the LGBTQ+ community, disability, a person of color, and you basically use them as almost like a token to be like, oh, I'm not racist, I have a black friend. Oh, I'm not homophobic, I have a gay best friend. Or, oh my god, like we're not a brand that's ableist, we featured a model in a wheelchair, etc, etc. And the problem is with tokenism is that it's exactly the same as what I'm discussing. It's very ungenuine. Also, it's very unnatural. Like, come on. You are bound to have at least models, like whether they are trans, whether they are black, whether they are Asian, etc, etc. You will have models wanting to work with you because you're a big brand. People will want to work with you. Like, it's exciting. Like, to work with a huge brand, like, wow, that's incredible. But for you to only hire one and then be like, oh, we're not racist because we have this model, so we're all good. But then we'll perform stuff like cultural appropriation and have her have very Eurocentric features or her being very light-skinned because you featured it before.
Day 4, do not judge. But I just wanted to say that if you're a black woman and you are light skinned or you have Eurocentric features, there is absolutely nothing wrong. I know this sounds really aggressive, but you are still beautiful and your diversity still deserves to be celebrated. I only say this because darker skinned black women are often neglected within stuff like TV, film, and media a lot. And a lot of brands tend to go for black light skinned models. So that's why I'm saying. But again, like, I don't mean this a hate at all. I just wanted to explain that.
It's kind of BS, it's kind of annoying. And it's just a pain because, again, like, these are little things you could definitely improve on and any brand could improve on that are just simple, that are very easy. And I don't understand why they're not in general. Ugh.
What I also wanted to say is when particular brands basically go ham with a cause and go right down and dirty with it, and usually it's because of a tragedy. So for example, it's like George Floyd's death. But before, when people were saying, can you please like change, we have asked you to change, or point out stuff like this needs to improve, this needs to improve, you ignore it and you continue doing what you want to do because it's what you wanted to do in the first place.
For example, many black influencers to Colourpop have been like saying like, please include more diverse models within your social media page. Please, can we have more products that work for our skin tones? Because it's not only foundation shades you have to worry about or you have to consider, it's also eyeshadows, because on different skin tones, some eyeshadows simply won't pop up and some will. Again, like, you can make anything work, but if you have to make it work and it shouldn't be effortless, it's a pain in the ass to that consumer, especially because they spend their hard-earned money on it and then they can't fully use it. Again, like what I said about body positivity, imagine a dark-skinned black girl going into a beauty shop, like, I don't know, like Sephora or something, and they're looking for a bronzer and they can't find no bronzer. Like, that's annoying. That's horrid. Because you should be able to use that product, and then if you're not able to because you can't find your shade in it, what the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck? And that's example like on Colourpop. A lot of the products, a lot of people of color could not use, so such as like bronzers, because they were basically the shade of bronzer that I would use only for a collection. One bronzer, like blushes, or the eyeshadows were really pale. A lot of them wouldn't show up on the eye. An influencer that I follow that I love, that you guys need to check out his stuff because also he creates such amazing content, Neon MUA, basically created the movement called Colourpop Me Black. So with this movement, basically the aim of this movement was to promote black creators to post on their page, but as well as that, also tell Colourpop, please, you have the talent here, do something about it. And also basically for them to be considerate when they are releasing palettes, because Colourpop releases palettes about like every freaking second. They release palettes like go, 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 go. And a lot of them, again, like are very similar and very pale and not very deep. They could easily be deeper, and I think it would create much more of an interesting color story.
When the world was in outrage because of George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement started getting momentum, Colourpop joined the bandwagon saying, we're gonna change, we're gonna improve, and started promoting black influencers. Which totally, that's a good thing, do not get me wrong, but with the evidence I've presented, they should have been doing this before, when influence was saying, we want change. When Neon MUA was promoting other black creators and himself saying like, promote us, you have the content, please diversify your feed. Not when it becomes a trend just so you can get into the good books. That's not how it works.
If a person is physically contacting you being like, we think we need change, here's an example of change, wouldn't you listen? Especially as a brand, you should be able to take criticism and be like, right, we need to use this to our advantage and improve our products, because the only way you will grow is if you listen to other people. Honestly, do it. It honestly helps so much. Them not listening, it just felt very ungenuine, and it felt like they were only doing it to save their ass, basically. It's annoying and stupid in that way of like just not listening and just doing what you want to be in tunnel vision. Now, I get that because I can be very tunnel visioned myself. Listening is the easiest thing to do, and especially I've learned that massively, is to listen and be able to grow from that, because that's the only way you're going to actually grow as a person, is to listen to other people. The reason why brands are doing performative activism, firstly, is to save their ass. We know that brands can get cancelled like that, basically for being ignorant, tone deaf, and uninclusive. We have the power and we can control who we buy from and who we don't. So it's to basically save their ass so they don't lose the money. Money. For them to do a pride collection, or for them to do an extensive foundation range, the reason why it can be used for money is because you are including an audience. You are including the general public. And with that, what does happen is that, oh, the public notices and like, oh, that's really good. Even if you haven't had a back history, doing one thing is like, wow, that's great. And people will want to gravitate towards that product. A, because they can use it, and B, because it celebrates their identity. So of course they want to use it. So they'll buy it, and it's like, oh my god, we're making more money. Let's do it either again. Let's just stick to this and do what we were doing before, because obviously this is making us the most money. Although what you should realize is like, oh, for you being inclusive, it's making you the most money. You should then also realize like, why don't we just do this for all our products? There are brands who are doing really well, who are generally using their products and are the most inclusive brands we can think of. For example, Savage X Fenty and Fenty, both super duper inclusive brands. Firstly, Fenty Beauty having immediately first dropped 40 foundation shades. That's what we call a launch, bitch! And then increased it further to 50, which is even better. Secondly, having a wide range of representation within their social media. Like, it's easy and it's effortless. So, if it's that effortless with Savage X Fenty and Fenty Beauty, why can't other brands do that? Like, what's the difficulty? That's the two main reasons. Now comes the other question. Is it a good thing to only follow inclusion for the trend? I was asking a lot of people these questions, like which brands they thought were inclusive or not. And I also asked this question, and people say it was like 50-50 because it's progress and we have to be grateful for that progress, but it's annoying that it's only because it's a trend. And I fully agree. It is progress at the end of the day, and you have to give credit where it's due. Like, you at least done something, but we would prefer if you'd continue doing it.
Day 5 of editing. Do not judge me. But remember when I mentioned Starbucks in the beginning of this video? Well, it's very relevant in this case because they are doing really well for the LGBTQ plus rights. So, for example, they did campaigns and adverts to trans right and transitioning. It was just brilliant, and we had to give them a round of applause for that. However, for the Black Lives Matter movement, not allowing your staff members to wear Black Lives Matter clothing to work, and then doing the opposite extreme when the press and the news finds out and you start selling t-shirts. This is the perfect example of selective activism.
Selective activism is basically where brands or people or whatever will select which causes they want to fight for and then select which ones they want to keep quiet for. And a lot of brands for race have done this. If you're gonna fight for one cause, fight for all causes, which is another thing that a lot of people brought up recently, which I do want to discuss because I feel like it's very important, which is if you believe in Black Lives Matter but are homophobic, then get out. Because you don't actually believe all Black Lives Matter. You believe only straight Black Lives Matter and only cisgender Black Lives Matter. When actually you have a range of other lives you're completely neglecting, such as Black trans women, Black queer boys, Black non-binary people, Black gay men. Like, you have so many more.
Intersectionality is a thing, and people do fit into more than one group in society and more than one minority, and for you not to fight for that minority and neglect them is stupid because they're a human and they deserve the equal rights as much as you do.
There are brands who do this very effortlessly and very well. Makeup Revolution, Fenty Beauty, Savage X Fenty, ASOS, so many more. However, then it comes down to us. So we may disagree with the beliefs that Brandy Melville does, but we still shop there. Why? The reason why I believe it is, my friend Nia said this very well, is that with Brandy Melville, you're part of something exclusive because you can fit into their clothes, because you can wear their clothes, because your social media promotes you. You are part of a tiny group and you feel like I'm exclusive, but also because the styles are very trendy as well. A lot of the brands that aren't very inclusive are actually the ones very explicitly on the high street and are very easy to spot. It's very sad to see because I wish they were more. In London especially, like, the population is so diverse. You'll spot so many different people from so many different things, and it's like, well, then why don't you talk about it? The thing is, it's also because it's accessible and it's easy and it's also cheaper, because at the end of the day we do live in a world that's pretty expensive, especially if you live in a city. Not all the brands, but some brands are cheaper simply, and they are very accessible to you. You literally can go to one place, go into the shop, try it on, buy it, like that. It's just making those tiny differences can honestly help the most. And even I have to do this definitely, and I'm definitely gonna try to do it more often.
What I wanted to end with is basically, do not hate yourself if you have shopped from these brands or if you like something from these brands. Don't hate yourself, it's completely okay. But let's make these little efforts to shop from more inclusive brands and more brands who are making the effort, because they deserve the money. And again, it's gonna be up to you how you spend your money at the end of the day. I can't tell you what to do, I can only advise you, like I've done throughout this video. Do what you feel like is best, because you're the consumer and you are the one spending your money, not me.
If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below any brands are very inclusive. Comment down below. Please like, subscribe, share. You know what to do, and I shall see you guys very, very soon. Cheers, adios, goodbye people, goodbye.